Thank you. Sorry, I'm not LeBron James. So as Thomas mentioned, it was really awesome. We get a lot of speaker requests at NASA Glenn, and one of our speakers bureau coordinators saw Thomas' request come in and jumped at the chance, knew that I'm really passionate about graphic design, communication at NASA, says, how about you go and talk to your people? It was so funny because I'm surrounded by rocket scientists and engineers and administrative people all day, and I said, oh my gosh, these are my people. This is meant for me. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about what we're working on at NASA, how I'm involved, and how our team is involved at NASA with all the things that we're working on for our next great adventure. Let's see if we can get this to work. So, of course, that's me. Oh, I love to show this picture. It's really funny. This was taken about 4 years ago. I was... 5 years ago, I was an intern at NASA Glenn. An opportunity came together for needing somebody to work on museums, exhibits, putting some things together for NASA at the Great Lakes Science Center, and doing different things for air shows, and it was a 10-week opportunity. So after I did that internship, I was hooked. I've always really been into science, art, technology, and wanted to put those things together, didn't know how. So I kind of stayed in the Cleveland area, worked for a local contractor, and had the opportunity to join the Orion Communications team. So I met the team. They're all based in Houston, and they flew up to Cleveland to meet me and said, hey, how about next week you fly down to Kennedy Space Center with us in Florida. We're going to do some outreach. There's going to be a rocket launch. What do you say? Great, sign me up. You know, how exciting is that? I didn't tell them when they left I had never flown before. I had never been on an airplane, never traveled, pretty much stayed in Ohio. So this was literally a couple hours after I landed in Orlando, drove down to Florida, and it was so exciting. So this was like my first, glimpse of what I'm going to do working at NASA. You can tell I'm very excited, and I had this personal mission. I said, what is this going to be? How can I make a difference? So who am I? First and foremost, I'm a designer. I went to Kent State University. I earned my bachelor's in fine art and master's of fine arts at Kent State in the visual communication design program. And just from today, I've seen a couple of you guys that I know from Kent State, from VCD. Some of you I actually had as students. So that's really exciting. So I've always kind of stayed in the area and went right from Kent State to working at NASA Glenn. I'm also a storyteller. A lot of what we do on the Orion Communications team is a lot of storytelling. A lot of the information that we have is extremely technical that we've got to understand to be able to break down and translate to the public. And that a whole range of audiences that we talk to. Sometimes we go to universities, museums, science centers. Sometimes we're going to an air show, and we've got to talk to a wide variety of people, and we also talk internationally as well. So we've got to be able to tell a story and break down all of the exciting things that we're doing and pioneering at NASA to different audiences. So something I do every single day. Another thing that I am is I'm a dreamer. I truly believe that our generation is going to go to Mars, and it's so exciting to be a part of a program that's actually going to do that. And I'm going to talk a little bit how we're going to get there. One thing that a lot of people know about me is I am so proud to be an Ohioan. I'm the only person on my communications team that's from NASA Glenn, so I represent not only our center here, but also Ohio. And what's cool about that is a lot of people don't know, and I kind of tell them when I'm traveling different things, that our state has the most astronauts. I don't know how many people knew that. We have the most presidents, US presidents, and the most astronauts coming from our state. And I get all the kind of jokes when I'm talking to people, and you see the memes online about how everybody wants to leave Ohio. That's why they become astronauts, to go to outer space, to leave. And that really kind of irritates me. I get that a lot from people when I rent cars. They say, where are you from? Ohio. And they kind of give me a hard time. So I tell them that little fun fact, and it kind of shuts them up. Because and then they see where I work and what I'm doing, and they're like, oh, okay. So what I also love about it is that, the people who are astronauts, they're not leaving Ohio or anything like there's something wrong here. What happens is they're pioneers. And what's exciting to me is watching, especially doing a lot of outreach and a lot of things that I do in the Cleveland area and just even in Ohio in general, how people are inspired by the pioneers that came before us, especially from Ohio. So I'm a huge fan of John Glenn. This is a picture that he took when he was in the Mercury project in 1962. And what's so great about John Glenn is that he was not only the first American to orbit Earth, he was also from Ohio. So I think that's really a big deal. We have another Ohioan, Jim Lovell from Cleveland. This is from Apollo 8. This is the Earthrise photo, which is really inspiring to me because he was the first, with his crew, the first to leave Earth, orbit the Earth, travel to the moon, orbit the moon, and then return safely to Earth. So another first for an Ohioan and a pioneer. We all have our favorite Neil Armstrong, who, as we know, was an American and also from Ohio. Again, another first for us, landing on the moon. So this to me is incredibly inspiring. I think about this all the time, and I love to tell people that when they think, take digs at our state. This is amazing. This is something that we've got true pioneers. They're not just leaving Ohio. They're actually doing something. What I think is really important too, and this is what I tell people, is I hope the next person that lands on Mars, at least one of the crew members, is from Ohio. I think it's important to keep this tradition alive with pioneering, and I truly believe that we can do that. So if you know anybody, or if we have any other future Ohio astronauts, please keep my dream alive. What's really exciting about the things that we're working on at NASA is that Mars is happening. This isn't something that, we see all the great movies that we're putting out about the space travel and space exploration, but we have been exploring Mars since the 1960s, sending rockets and probes and all kinds of satellites. We've got robots and rovers. It's time. We've got to be able to send humans there, but we know it's very hard. So again, this person better be from Ohio because it's something that we talk about all the time, and we're trying to inspire the next generation to do, but that's part of the communication message that we're trying to let everybody know, that it's not easy, and it's going to take an international effort. It's going to take everybody. We've got commercial partners. We've got other space agencies around the world. It's truly going to take a global effort to be able to leave our planet, leave the safety and security of what we call the cislunar space, or our moon and Earth kind of system, and head to the Martian system. So this is one of the fun charts that we show at NASA. This is, I know it's kind of hard to read, but I'm going to explain a little bit about the phases. This is what's so exciting, is that this is happening right now. We are creating these phases in order to get to Mars. We can't just send rockets and people there right now. We've got to be able to practice working in space, or what we call the proving ground area between the Earth and the moon, in order to start practicing how to get humans to be able to handle being out in space for long durations. I don't know if how many of you guys have seen the year in space that we just had with astronaut Scott Kelly. He came back. Wonderful, wonderful research that we're learning about staying out there for longer periods of time. So we're kind of in phase 0 right now, where we're using the space station. We've had the space station for about 14 years, and having the astronauts up there complete experiments, long duration space flight, things that we're learning from to be able to stay in Orion, the spacecraft, and for these longer duration missions. I'm going to talk a little bit about the next phases that we're working on. So I talked about the space station. This is really important. Some people forget, they think that the space station has nothing to do with the journey to Mars that we're taking. It has everything to do with it. This is the lab that we've had up in space for the longest, and our astronauts are completing things that we're taking the research for and using for these long duration missions. So I talked about Orion. This is the next generation spacecraft. This is the program that I work for. So how we kind of describe it, it's the next generation vehicle. It's a deep space vehicle, and it's replacing the space shuttle. So many of us grew up with the space shuttle. It was retired in 2011. And so this is the next vehicle that's taking our astronauts. The other thing that we're working on right now is the Space Launch System. So this is a graphic depicting it being built down at Kennedy Space Center. What I love about both these programs, and what I get to do as a communication specialist, is that these are being built all across the United States. We've got suppliers all over America and also in Europe that are putting these pieces together to help build our platforms to going forward. I recently just traveled over to Europe. It was very exciting to go to different factories over there. That's something I do a lot with my job, is meeting the people that are actually putting the nuts and bolts together, the solar panels, every single thing that you can think of Like I said, it's a global effort to be able to do this. Some of the different products that we put out, I highly recommend checking them out on our social media. You get to see the actual humans that are putting this platform together for us to travel to deep space. What I love I talk a lot to the younger generation, a lot of little kids as well. They're so excited because we're building this for them. We'll get to see it in our lifetime, but it's that Mars generation, the younger preschool kindergartners right now, they're going to be the astronauts that take us to Mars. So that's really exciting and something I really enjoy as a communicator. So this is a really interesting chart. This is just a snapshot of what we're doing for our next mission. What's cool about this is a snap. What we see is all the different things, all the different mission points that are happening for EM1 or Exploration Mission 1 that we're having in late 2019. What I see exciting about this as a communicator is every single point on this trajectory as we go to the moon. It's about a 26-day mission. It's an opportunity for outreach. It's an opportunity as a designer, as a communicator, to talk to the public, talk to the world about what we're doing with their spacecraft. This is an unmanned mission, so we're testing out to make sure that the spacecraft does work correctly, that we've got everything and all the components that we need to be able to handle being out in deep space. We haven't really been out to deep space since 1972 with the end of the Apollo era, so it's time to head back. And so this is the spacecraft that's going to take us there. So I mentioned before we're going in phases. Why I wanted to explain this really quickly is that we're just creating these kinds of architectures right now to go out into deep space. This is known as the Deep Space Gateway, and you can see Orion here on the side. We're just now starting to put the plans together to be able to have a modular out in space to be able to do these deep space missions. Again, I mentioned the International Space Station, but to actually have an outpost out around the moon to send astronauts to practice being out in a deep space, to me is so exciting. We just started talking about it this summer. You can also see with when I mentioned the proving grounds between the moon and the Earth, this is really big because we haven't been back there for a while. The other phase that we're working on towards it's going to be the 2030s is the deep space transport. Again, it's so exciting to talk about these things and work with engineers as they develop these vehicles and concepts for going out to deep space. But for a designer, it's amazing because it's on the cutting edge of what we're doing for space travel. And I get to be a part of that with the team that gets to talk about the spacecraft that's taking us there. So again, these are some of our social media sites. Why we like to show this is not only do we want you to connect with us, this is a lot of where you're going to find the latest information of what we're working on. And to us, 1 million followers is more valuable than $1 million. We need your help. And that's why I love talking to you guys to see how the ideas that you have for what we're working on. We do a lot with trying to get different ideas or outreach to talk to younger audiences about what we're creating. I personally feel we need a lot more designers, a lot of creatives at NASA. We have a lot of problems to solve, and I think that it takes that kind of design thinking and creative mindset to kind of solve some of the problems that we have for space travel. So definitely connect with us. We really need your support. One of the final things I was going to talk about is this new project we just launched about 2 weeks ago, Project Mars. This is an international film and design contest for posters and short films. It's very, very exciting. Again, this is an opportunity. We're always trying to search of how do we engage the creative community with what we're working on. We want people to participate. We want to hear your voice of how do you think we should get there. So this is some of the celebrity judges that we have. I'm going to show a video from Gareth Edwards, director of Rogue One and Star Wars. He's one of our celebrity judges that's going to be judging this contest. We also have a variety of astronauts. You might have recognized Bobak from the Curiosity Landing. He was Mohawk Guy. Does anyone remember Mohawk Guy? He's on one of our judges too. We also have Everyday Astronaut and some different people from creative agencies. There are cash prizes for this competition, and we'd love to hear what you guys think. We're going to be launching a forum soon for people to collaborate creatively on the competition. The competition's about a year long, and what's so great about having that forum is that we're communicating and connecting with people all over the world. We also have subject matter experts, a part of the competition, that if you have a question or want to work on something that's really highly technical, you have access to a NASA technical advisor for the project that you create. So that's really, really exciting. Let's see if, Thomas, we can get this to work.
Hi, I'm Gareth Edwards, director of Rogue One. The great thing about making Star Wars is that you get to visualize space travel, but that is nothing compared to the people at NASA who get to do it for real. They are going to launch the biggest rocket ever built, which is going to carry the Orion spacecraft, which is designed to take humanity further than it's ever been before and ultimately to Mars. But we need your help. Project Mars is a film and design competition which asks students and young professionals to visualize that epic journey for us. Now, I would enter. It's the perfect thing for aspiring filmmakers, but unfortunately I'm one of the judges, so I can't. That would be cheating, along with other designers and NASA astronauts. So stop watching this video and get animating, because we can't wait to see what you come up with. And good luck, and may the force be with you.
He's very excited about working with us on this project. It's been really fun partnering with people and seeing. It's great. We were, again, I mentioned our social media. We've got people that were, for instance, a composer said, hey, I don't have any film directing or film design or design experience, but I'm a composer. I'd love to collaborate with somebody and create a film. And so we're already starting to see that activity. And so that's why I was so excited to talk to you guys about what we're doing, because I'd love to see so many people from Creative Mornings Cleveland. That would be great to participate. These are just some posters, again, showing an example of what design that we're creating to get people really excited about what we're doing. We have these in all different languages that we're going to start blasting out, posting, encouraging schools all around the world to participate. And in closing, I wanted to tell you guys, this was so inspiring talking to you guys about, what we're doing at NASA. I really encourage you guys. I don't know how many people know that the Orionid meteors are peaking this weekend. I was out this morning watching them. It's really, really exciting. And so I hope you guys go out and enjoy them. It's really interesting. I was out this morning watching the meteor showers, thinking of this theme about pioneering and about, the pioneers that came before us, using the stars to guide us and different things. We have a saying that we say at NASA all the time that says ad astra, or to the stars. And so some of those people I mentioned earlier, and some of the people I work with have been very inspirational in getting the story out of what we're working on. And so I highly recommend checking out the meteor shower and thinking about this weekend. So, ad astra, thank you.